Welcome, everyone, to this briefing brought to you by the Israel Defense and Security Forum, IDSF. In Hebrew, our name is Bitronistim. IDSF is the leading Israeli organization advocating for strong national security to defend Israel. Thank you to all our viewers and all of our supporters for tuning into this briefing, whether you're watching right now online or you're watching right now on YouTube. It's great to have all of you here, and it's a great honor to be joined right now by the founder and chairman of IDSF, Brigadier General Amir Avivi. General, thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure.
General, a lot has happened since you last joined our briefing, a lot of tremendous success of the IDF against Hezbollah. What can you share with us?
Well, I think that it's the first time that I would say all the people of Israel understand that we are on our way to victory. We have said that for months and months since the beginning of the war, that this is where we'll be. But I think that when we see how the IDF is able to almost dismantle Hezbollah in 1 week and kill all the leadership out of maybe one guy, it's amazing. It's amazing to see it. The whole world, I think, is astonished by what the IDF is doing. It exceeded every expectation we had about how a war would look in the north. And at this stage, we need to stay focused. We haven't set the terms for bringing back our citizens yet. In order to do so, we need to push Hezbollah out of South Lebanon. At present, although all the leadership of Hezbollah was targeted, they haven't surrendered. They're still trying to shoot. The terrorists of Radwan in South Lebanon haven't retreated. And it leaves us really with no choice but to go in and create a buffer zone, destroy all the infrastructure of Hezbollah in South Lebanon, and really create a buffer that will secure the towns. And by doing that, we'll be able to bring back the citizens home. This is what we need to do. And the IDF is preparing for a ground incursion. All the forces are ready. Now it's up to the cabinet to decide when is it going to be done. And the IDF is continuously to fight, to attack and degrade Hezbollah's capabilities. And we're going to wait until really we achieved most of the missions and our soldiers will be as secure as possible before we launch this ground incursion. And then we'll be able to really send them as safely as possible to their missions. While doing so, Israel is also fighting against the Houthis, a huge attack on the Houthis following their attack on Israel. We are also continuing to target terrorists in Gaza. So the IDF is operating all over the place. And I think that really the motivation of the soldiers and really the spirit in Israel is amazing. And people are very, very proud of what they're seeing. It's emboldening the society and also our government and army to continue and push forward towards victory.
Thank you, General, for sharing that. My video caught out for a second, so I missed a little bit about what you said, so I apologize if you just addressed this. But given the enormous success that Israel has had right now, what do the capabilities of Hezbollah look like in terms of active threats, the arsenal of the missiles and rockets that they still have?
So we hit a lot of this arsenal, but I must say they still have rockets and missiles. I think they are experiencing huge difficulties to do something with them because of lack of leadership. Nobody can give commands. All the commanders were toppled, but they have capabilities. And also many of the forces are still in the south, Radwan forces, thousands of them. So sporadically they can shoot. They can also storm the border or get ready to fight. It's very hard to assess exactly what the situation is. They are very confused, very disoriented, scared. I don't think they completely understand what happened to them. So we'll have to assess this and see what happens in the coming days. And the big question is whether the cabinet will order the army to move forward and launch the ground incursion. This is something that we'll probably see in the coming hours or days.
Thank you. And so now that Nasrallah is no longer leading Hezbollah, to what extent is that leadership coming from the lower rank and file? And to what extent is Iran really calling the shots? What is that dynamic between Hezbollah and Iran right now?
So it's interesting because I don't know who the Iranians can speak to. We killed all of them, all the leadership. So they don't have really anybody to speak to. Also, the headquarters of Hezbollah were completely destroyed. I don't know how much the Iranians really have communication with the people in Hezbollah and how much these people can actually communicate with the forces on the ground. There is chaos there, but still they're trying to shoot here and there, shooting rockets mostly on the north. And the IDF is constantly attacking all the time, degrading their capabilities. This organization is really on its knees at this point, and in a week. It's unbelievable. And how this will move forward, it's very difficult to predict. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And thank you to all of our viewers who are sending in many questions. And General, a lot of people are wondering about kind of the broader implications across Lebanon. If Hezbollah is being toppled day by day now, what does that mean for the Lebanese army, for the Lebanese people, and beyond that in the region?
So I think that the Lebanese people are getting an historical opportunity to get rid of Hezbollah. Hezbollah and Iran have taken hostage this country, and really are controlling, the government. And the situation in Lebanon is really terrible. And the Lebanese people have really a chance to change their fate and deal with this. And here it's a matter of really the leaders of the Christians, the Maronis, the Jews, all these groups, Sunnis, to seize the moment and deal with what's left with Hezbollah and completely shift the situation. I mean, if they do so, who knows? Maybe in the future we'll have peace with Lebanon. Maybe they will join the Sunni axis and not the Shia axis. So there can be dramatic shifts, but in order to achieve this point, we need to continue to dismantle the organization, and they need to wake up and seize the moment.
Now, on October 7th, the security establishments in Israel felt that everything was under control, right? They were on top, and then October 7th happened, and we've kind of been building up from this deficit, from this really place of initial defeat. Now that the Israel mentality is we're back on top with Hezbollah, is there a concern that we're going to kind of repeat October 7th? I mean, the mentality right now in Israel is we can beat Hezbollah. We're so strong. Look what we've done. And it was almost that mentality that allowed on October 7th to happen with Hamas. Is that a concern?
It's a completely different situation. With the 7th of October, that many people in the army felt we are getting to contain this. They said, okay, yeah, we'll try to keep it, under control, and maybe we'll avoid war, and maybe we'll manage to push this war a year or 2 or 3 more, and try to buy time. Now it's exactly the opposite. We want to fight, and we want to win. And we're not looking for a ceasefire. We understand that this is our moment to deal with all the threats that we have experienced. And we really have to win decisively on all fronts. There's a lot of work to do. There will be many happy moments, but also there will be huge challenges. Not everything will look like the last week, but I'm sure that we are experiencing a defining moment where things are trying to move fast towards an Israeli victory.
Thank you. And when we spoke about the war goals in Gaza of destroying Hamas, so it's no longer a military or a governmental agency or entity, even though you can't destroy the ideology. What does that look like with Hezbollah and with Iran? Meaning Israel can't destroy Iran. Israel can't destroy the ideology in southern Lebanon. So what, beyond bringing the 60,000 residents back home, what would you say the broader goals of this war should be?
We're talking about Hezbollah. Israel set a goal in the north to bring back safely the citizens. It didn't set a goal to destroy Hezbollah. But as things are moving, maybe Israel should change this and set a goal really to dismantle Hezbollah, because we have to really take advantage of what we managed to do. And taking in account that Hezbollah has many, many enemies in Lebanon, that this can definitely be a defining moment. As for Iran, we can definitely not talk about destroying Iran, okay? But there are specific installations, the nuclear installations that we need to deal with, and we also can hit very precisely oil refineries, and things that can really take Iran seriously back and hit their economy. This is things we can do. And really what Israel is expecting is the US to join, to really understand that this is a defining moment where really destroying the Shia axis. We destroyed Hamas, we're on the verge of destroying Hezbollah, we're dealing with the Houthis. And I think that if the US joins now, this can be an historical moment where we can do a huge, huge change. When I met one of the high-ranking officials last week of the US, I reminded him of the US emblem, which is an eagle, very strong eagle holding arrows, not a dove. The US needs to go back to be an eagle and really show the strength of this nation. And I hope that things will change. We saw that when we do the right things and we are victorious, also President Biden supported the fact that we took out Nasrallah eventually.
For sure, for sure. And I know whenever you speak about things related to the U.S., many of our viewers in the U.S. kind of perk up and want to hear what you have to say to guide them in U.S. elections, but that's not necessarily what we're here for right now. So last week, I spoke with Brigadier General Res about Lebanon, and he was trying to explain to us why boots on the ground right now would be different and more effective than previous Lebanon wars. Are you able to share that a little bit?
Yes, I think that, you hear me, Moshe?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I think that after 11 months of fighting in Gaza, the Israeli Defense Forces have really gained huge experience and capabilities. For example, I look at the combat engineers who had to deal with the tunnels, the amount of capabilities they got in the last 11 months, the techniques they developed, how big now these forces are. We can definitely do amazing things. And also the ability of the ground forces to fight in coordination with the Air Force is pretty amazing. And I think that when the IDF will go into South Lebanon, when they do it, nothing will stop them. It will be a war machine that is unstoppable. And I am sure that they will really manage to create this buffer needed to return our citizens back.
Okay, thank you. And the prime minister is making headlines right now about telling the Iranians, that they're going to be free from fanatics sooner than they think. Do you think that this signals that Israel will focus on Iran more so than the immediate threats of Hezbollah?
So I think that in a few weeks, in the pace we are destroying Hezbollah, in a few weeks, the whole Israeli Air Force will have very few missions left in the north and in the south. And we will be able to focus entirely on the east, on Iran, on militias in Iraq and Yemen. And I can say that in the last 18 years, we've seen what capabilities Israel built against Hezbollah. You can rest assured that many, many, many capabilities were built also against Iran. And the day Israel will deal with Iran, I think that the world will be astonished at what capabilities Israel has built against them.
By the way, continuously in these briefings, you tell us, because you were the auditor for the IDF, you tell us all the capabilities Israel has, and then we see them, and it's really unbelievable. All right, are you able to?
I've said it for 11 months that the day we'll attack in Lebanon, people will see things that are completely different from what they saw in the 11 months we were on the defense. But I must admit that even I was surprised. Even knowing many of these capabilities, I was surprised at how effective everything was.
For sure. What do you think is happening in that broader kind of axis of China and Russia and their relationship with right now with Iran? Are they being impacted by what's happening to Hezbollah?
It's a good question. I think that definitely if Iran will be hit, this will have a major effect on Russia because the Iranians are weaponizing Russia, advising them, producing capabilities. And this is why we need to take Iran out of the equation globally, not talking just about Israel. Iran is endangering Europe. It will endanger the US if there will be nuclear. And we need to deal really with this threat. When and how this will be seen. It's hard to say exactly how it will happen. But until we deal directly with them, we are dismantling their proxies, and this is good news.
A viewer just sent in a question I want to address. It's a really sharp question. And again, thank you to everyone who sends in the questions, either in the Zoom chat or to my email, my WhatsApp. People know how to somehow find me and get the questions in. General, we're seeing shock and awe with the Israel's capabilities in southern Lebanon and with Hezbollah, but we didn't see that same level of shock and awe and capabilities in Gaza. Are you able to explain this distinction? Maybe that it existed, we just didn't see it as much or understand it.
It's a completely different arena, but I think that also Israel really focused most of its attention to the north, thinking that this will be the main challenge, and a lot of the investments were to the north. Unfortunately, it seems that we didn't take Hamas seriously enough, and we see a difference indeed in how prepared were we to deal with Hezbollah, which supposedly is much stronger than Hamas, and how unprepared we were for Hamas. And this teaches us a lesson to really prepare for everything, but also to make sure that there are no terror armies on our borders. This is not something we can agree to again. We don't have to wait until we have all armies on our border. We need to deal with that before. And I think that probably this is what will happen in the future.
And what you're saying is very reassuring for Iran, because we know as a national priority, Iran has been there. So if you're saying Israel focused on the north and by extension Iran and not Gaza, so then hopefully good things are to come with regards to defeating the evil over there. General, I know you're very busy today. I know you're very busy today. Hopefully you'll have time to join us tomorrow. And just so all of our viewers know, because of the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah this week, our schedule is a little bit different than usual. Tomorrow will be our last briefing for the week. We'll then come back with you next week for a very special program on October 7th. General, any parting words for us for the day?
Yes, we have to follow closely the preparations for a ground incursion in Lebanon. And also, I want to reassure everybody that we are continuing to operate in Gaza. And soon enough, we'll see operations in Gaza to continue and degrade Hamas and move towards the reality of bringing back our hostages.
Brigadier General Amir Avivi, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our viewers and all of our supporters. We will be back with you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. here in Israel. Until then, stay safe, stay strong. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.